What is, what was, and what will be start here with the words, in the beginning there was...
Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Bearded Game Masters. As always, my name is Ron, and I am joined with Mike.
Hello.
And today we are going to, really me, I'm going to nerd out something really hard here, because today our topic is going to be World of Warcraft.
AKA the game that ruins your life.
Well, more so back in the day. I don't know if I can go with that statement so much now because it's a lot more casual now, but it's still a lot of fun, especially if you're into the lore like myself.
Yeah. Me too.
So anyone who is a fan of the series knows that the most recent expansion, Battle for Azeroth, has launched. That came out on Monday, actually, which is different for what Blizz usually does, at least that I can ever remember.
Yeah, that was a worldwide event. So basically, that Tuesday refresh thing that actually happened like around Paris time, where they got it on a Tuesday.
Okay.
But we here in the States, we got it at 6 p.m. Monday, which I was all ready to be there, like at the moment that it was going to actually happen. Unfortunately, that's when the electrician decided to come. He had to work on the power breaker, and I didn't have electricity at the time, so I didn't get in there till about 7. When I was able just to get through that rushing gauntlet through the jail, and then there you are on the town. Felt like an Elder Scrolls game for a second, though, I have to admit.
Oh, with the Alliance intro? Yeah, I get you there. I get you there.
Well, I mean, I have to say this. You're a wanted criminal. You got to put in jail. You break out of jail, and they say, oh, no one will recognize you in town. Have fun. Well, whatever. It's a game.
Let's go with it.
I need the level. Come on. Give me the mobs.
Well, I want to say on launch day, I actually had all intentions to be like, you know what, I'm not going to play this on launch day because, most of the time, their launches haven't been smooth.
Well, that's when it's fun.
I
get a kick out of it anyway.
Sometimes, I guess. Sometimes, I guess you could get a kick out of it. Normally, I didn't. But granted, I think they got it out of their system and they just broke the game a week prior. So, it's all good. Launch was actually pretty damn smooth, so I can't complain on that one.
No.
But
although my servers did crash Monday night.
Actually the problem that I had is when I did actually try getting on, I couldn't, any of the servers that had the characters that I wanted to play, I couldn't actually get on. And when I finally did get on them, I had no characters. They were just gone. And that's when I was just like, you know what? Screw it. I'll do this another day. Obviously today's not going to be the day to play WoW. No. So that was my launch experience. I didn't actually get to play it till Tuesday. But anyway, enough about like our launch day fun, if you will. I actually, I don't even know where to start on this one.
Well, let's start with the lead up to what we're doing right now in this expansion. Because I think there's a storyline to this game.
Depending on who you talk to, there might be a story.
I think there's a story to this thing.
Yeah. All right, so you want to review the story, or what are you wanting to do here, bud?
Well, let's talk about the fact that who has started out and still mains a Night Elf Shadow Priest is looking forward to the day when a certain undead witch has her head on a pike.
You must be talking. Okay, you're referring to Sylvanas there on that one.
Yeah. There's no love lost there. One of my favorite zones has been destroyed.
All right. Well.
Okay. So, at least you get to fly around. Around the Forsaken starting zone, but we don't even get that option. We just see a 2D burning tree in the distance.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. To be fair to anyone who might not know what we're talking about, I'm not sure why you'd be listening to this episode if you don't know what a WoW is, but hey, just to do a quick little recap, prior to this current expansion, we've got what was this, 2004? An MMO that's been around since, I want to say probably like 2004, give or take. I might actually be wrong on that. I'm not 100% sure. Doesn't matter. You have two warring factions. You have the Alliance and, the Alliance, who's full of like all the pretty people.
Oh, we're going that far back.
We've got the, like very, very, very rough and brief synopsis. Humans, dwarves, night elves, gnomes, now a worgen, and some pandas.
Draenei.
Oh, yep. Space cows, Draenei.
Space goats.
Space goats. You've got them on the Alliance side, and then you have the opposing faction, the Horde, who is like orcs, trolls, goblins, Tauren, basically minotaurs, undead, and the
Pretty
other
boys.
Oh yeah, yep, blood elves, which are essentially high elves, and pandas as well. Pandarians being just the neutral race that could pick either side, for reasons that I'm pretty sure no one really cares to have me talk about. They've been at war forever, ultimately resulting in the burning of the night elf.
Tetrasil.
Like they're basically their hometown,
starting zone,
or their starting zone. Yes. The Horde side burns down their world tree because Sylvanas is
it's a bitch.
I mean, that's a way to put it. Yeah. She's an interesting character, but it's all from a narrative perspective. A lot of people don't really like her. I'm on the fence.
Now I definitely don't.
I don't know whether or not if I, hashtag not my war chief or not. And then in retaliation, the Alliance basically sacks the undead city, which is Lordaeron, which if you don't know what that is, go play Warcraft.
Traditional homes, which is her traditional home capital city. So, tit for tat.
So, you basically have that stuff happen. Now these two factions are fighting with each other, as well as collecting. You know what? For just simplicity's sake, a raw material that can be used in a variety of different ways. I'm not going to bother getting into the blood of the planet or space gods, space wizard, things like that. It's just, there's people who explain this story significantly better than what I ever will. Nobble, go watch them. Basically, you're good.
Basically right now we're going to see we got what Blizzard did this time, and instead of putting everybody in the same continent, they split both factions in two major continents with some missions to go to the other side here and there.
Yes,
which I got to do a little bit of. I have to say that for what I've seen so far, absolutely the layout is gorgeous. Blizzard always seems to know how to kick it up a notch when it comes to designing these worlds and these layouts. I came to the conclusion that Legion was awfully small in terms of a continent compared to, say, even Outland or Northrend or even Draenor. But this one seems, even for just the Alliance side, seems pretty large. And then they're going to expand even further with those with additional content, of course. But what I've got so far, I mean, I am not the type of person to power level. So I don't have a 120 character right now. I think I just got my main at the 114, and basically I haven't touched any of my ults. And I'm just, I'm trying to enjoy the content, and as well as enjoy in your usual childish banter on looking for group chat while I'm questing. So
yeah,
that's Although I have to admit, being killed by a ooze of honey is really demoralizing.
Well, maybe a little bit. If you're getting killed by it. So I figure, we can talk about a few things that we like from this current expansion. Maybe go through a bit of a rehash, if you will, on some of the older ones. Maybe give our thoughts on them and whatnot. Currently, right now, I mean, with BFA, I am, depending on what I'm feeling and who I might be playing with, I'm either leveling Horde, what was it? Nightborn. I forgot about those races, that allied race. But anyway, that's not the core race. That doesn't matter. But I'm playing either on the Horde side, I'm leveling up a Warlock, Affliction Warlock, or if I'm playing on Alliance, I am leveling up a Unholy Death Knight. And I've been going through and being able to see, for the most part, both sides.
What race is the Death Knight?
Worgen.
Worgen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Actually, you know what? To be honest with you, I never really gave that particular race much of a chance when they came out in Cataclysm. So it was just like,
they're a lot of fun.
Why not? Actually, they are. I absolutely love it. But nonetheless, so I've been having the chance to go through and see both sides of the story, or at least so far. I have to say, story, like the story of it so far, I am eating up. I love it. I feel that the Horde side is a little bit, it feels bigger than what it might actually be, especially like the main hub. But I'm definitely digging the Alliance side a lot more. I'm really just curious to see what happens with Jaina Proudmoore. Also, just like, I love so far. I've gotten to 2 out of the 3, areas that you can explore and quest and level up and whatnot. I've done 2 out of the 3. I actually haven't made it a point to go through and try to do every single quest that I completely find, just because I'm having so much fun playing and leveling in this game than what I have right now. So I'm a little bit more into the Alliance side right now, just because I'm, like I said, I really want to see what happens with certain characters.
I can see the comment section right now.
Well, I mean, we'll see.
Yep.
So outside of just that stuff, I have to say some of the things that I've noticed compared to the previous expansion, Legion, that I feel is really nice is one, it just like, I feel the leveling system is so smooth. I mean, I'm taking my time and like making sure I hit every quest, and I read the ones that are important to read. And I'm having fun. Like I'm actually having a lot of fun just questing, which has been a little while for me, to be able to say that. Not only is it just like the whole leveling system is very polished. I mean, it's just gorgeous looking right now. This is the first time since WoW has come out, like this expansion is the first one since WoW has launched that they actually like upped the minimum requirements to play this game.
Well, they did back with Draenor.
Yeah, but I mean, like you can't, like now you have to run like, I think it's,
now you actually have a good PC to run it.
Yeah, you have to have like an okay PC. You can't have like a bottom of the barrel one to be able to play this game.
My laptop of 10 years ago, which could run World of Warcraft, or even like Doom 3 smoothly, like buttery smooth, it can't run this anymore.
Yeah,
it's done.
I mean, but again, like I said, this is a game that's been around for
15 years,
something like that, maybe even longer. I have no clue, but it's been around. So it's nice on that one. Anyway, long story short, story is awesome. I'm having a great time with it. I can't talk.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably a good time to talk about, like, I think generally you and I play this game differently, which is a testament to this game. Because everybody of any kind of play style can get into World of Warcraft. I'm like the explorer kind. I like a good, give me a good walking simulator. I will play the hell out of that kind of game.
Fair enough.
And I've always been the slow guy to level, in this game, even from the very first time I've started playing it, because I actually like just enjoy wandering around, doing all the quests, finding the next exclamation point and hitting that up. But I know you're more into the dungeons and raids. I'm more into just going out and exploring. I've never really like having just sit there and wait for somebody. You're trying to do a dungeon and then somebody decides to quit, and then you're stuck waiting for a new guy to come in, or you're in a guild and you got to I log in to want a quest and I get called in. You got to raid, and I sit there. Okay, when are we gonna raid? Well, we're waiting for one more guy. We're trying to get people from the town, and I'm like, it's been an hour. I could have been leveling by now.
Yeah.
So I prefer going out there collecting what I need to craft and level my professions. That's been my my kind of game. So, although I don't get experience all this stuff until maybe later on when I can go back and solo a lot of that stuff on my own. So far what I see with this expansion pack, I mean, there's just so much they added in terms of being able to get around, and the design of the towns are the main, that, what was it, Borealis, as they call it, for the Alliance side,
Borealis,
their main town. I mean, that is a city. That it almost reminds me of the first time I played The Witcher 3 and I went to Nagren. Was it Nagren? No. The main town in that game, which is huge compared to most other games, open-ended RPG games. And I can't believe the Novgorod. You go to Novgorod and it's like, holy crap, they actually designed this from the ground up.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel with this, for World of Warcraft, and, which, you quote major town, quote, is pretty small. This place is pretty big. I would say it's about the size of maybe 2 or 3 Stormwinds.
Yeah, pretty much.
Easy.
Yeah.
And it's fun to and it's not all safe. I mean, there's a lot of shady areas. I found the Black Auction house lady, and she's surrounded by mobs. You got to take care of them, and they will respawn if you're sitting around here too long. So just keep in mind. But like I said before, Blizzard does know how to craft these things, and I'm really happy. Finally, after all these expansions since Wrath, we finally got a boat to a new landmass.
Okay.
We got a portal. That's fine, but it doesn't feel, if the world feels bigger when you have to take the boat.
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. And actually, touching base on something you had made mention of is about like different play styles for the game. That actually, in my opinion, kind of says something here, because you have, yes, it's an MMO, and
right,
it's
geared towards that.
Well, yes, it's geared towards playing with other people. But what's nice is that you don't have to. You can go through and just do what you want by yourself. Now, yes, you might not be able to see the most current dungeons unless you're doing them with friends, or raids unless you have a lot of friends and you're doing it with them. But you can go through and you can basically get the core story so far. So I think that's cool for those who and
a lot of the major cutscenes and stuff, Blizzard will either release on their WoW channel on YouTube, or somebody else is going to record it, and you get to see it anyway.
Yeah. I mean, and that if that works for you, you can do it that way.
Yeah.
I mean, oh man, what else would I want to actually talk about with this? I'm having fun with. I said the story. The story's great. Yeah. They actually oh man.
How about that new mount?
Which
and you know which one I'm talking about? It. There's the $5 million gold coin mount.
Oh yeah, the giant brontosaurus.
Brontosaurus.
Yeah, that one.
Somebody has it already on my server. I'm not surprised.
There's always that one person who has the gold saved up for it, or just spent the real world money on it. Yeah. It is not surprising there on that one. I actually, one thing that I did think was cool that they added in was the island expeditions. It's essentially it's a 3v3 PvE PvP. Yeah.
It hasn't been released yet. It hasn't been opened up yet. I think it'll be in the next patch, I think, right?
I haven't actually gotten that far yet. I have them on the Horde side. I have it unlocked, but I haven't tried it yet. So I can
I thought it had to be unlocked later on.
I believe I can queue for it. I haven't actually tested it out to see for myself 100% what it's like. I just did like a little introductory quest for it. I'm actually working on it for my Alliance character because that's the one I think I really want to play around with just because I know a few more people that would want to.
Yeah.
Well, for the Alliance.
I mean, the most thing I've done so far with my Night Elf so far is that every now and then I go back to Zandalar. I go over to Zandalar and do some quests over there, which are pretty good. We were trying to find our captain, and she ended up being enthralled by the blood trolls. And
I know.
She tried to sacrifice me to the new old god in the expansion.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
I was like, I want to go back to the Green Valley.
Like I said, this story wise, there's so much in there. Like you can just sink your teeth into if you're really into the lore. So so far I am very pleased with this expansion. I mean, I'm digging it. Hands down. So far, I've got no complaints. Let's see if they can keep me saying the same thing when I've actually finished the story, mostly, because obviously there's going to be more that comes out.
That's when you start leveling your next ult.
It's true. That's very true. Or I can just do a buttload of island expeditions with a couple of friends or by myself. I don't know. Yeah. There's a lot. And for those, if there's anyone who's been on the fence on whether or not if you actually want to try this, I definitely have to say I think now is that time. It might be a little daunting at first, especially if you start from scratch. Going from level 1 to 120 it will take a little bit of time. It's a little actually I don't think it'll take that much time, but it is a little daunting. It's some work, but I'm going to be honest with you. You have a very large game with an extensive history.
Right. And there's a lot of, they've squished a lot of content to save time on your end to level up, especially if you're a new player. Yeah. But you can, it gives you the choice of going this way or that way, so that if you make another character, you can go a different way. Yeah. Instead of going to Outland, you're going to Northrend this time. Yeah. Or instead of doing the Cataclysm content, you'll do Pandaria.
Yeah. They've definitely polished it in that sense. Yeah. But definitely, if you're into MMOs, but you're, something that's been on your radar, but you don't know, I firmly believe now is the time. It's just so much fun. There's so much to do. And
it's free to level 20, by the way.
And it's free to level 20. Or if you were a fan of like the Warcraft of like 1 through 3, but I don't know if I really want to play World of Warcraft because I like the RTSs. I don't blame you. The RTS stories are fun, and I'm actually on my off time replaying Warcraft 3 just because it's been so long. But this definitely so far in this current expansion very much gives that feeling of Warcraft 3. So definitely now's the time to try it if you haven't. But I do want to kind of like touch base here and maybe talk about some of the previous. I can't talk. Let's talk about attempt to talk about some of the previous expansions here. Sure. Going from the, original vanilla WoW, which I'm gonna be honest, I'd never played.
Well, let's I got in at the tail end of Wrath of the Lich King without knowing that Cataclysm was about 4 or 5 months away, and the world I was just finally getting to experience was going to disappear. So I kind of rushed through that content. So I never got to experience the leveling of the original World of Warcraft either. But I did get to experience the zones before Cataclysm.
Before the in-game world changed.
Yeah. When did you get in there, Ron?
I started. All right. So here's where it's a little tricky. I never actually played during vanilla. I knew a couple of people who did. I saw some stuff, but at the time, I didn't have a computer to run it. And, MMOs really weren't my thing. I did pick it up.
How far we come.
Yeah, I know, right? I did pick it up just a little bit during Burning Crusades. And I got a chance to check it out then, but I didn't really sink my teeth into it until about halfway through Wrath of the Lich King. which
we both came in around the same time then.
Yeah, I think I came in just a little bit. I think I started the game just a little bit sooner than you, or a little bit earlier than you.
Well, I remember it was August when I finally picked up the game, and so August, and then that November was Cataclysm.
Yeah,
and one of the funny moments I ever had is that we had that pre-launch content with like the elements were attacking the major cities, and here I am, like a level 58 or something like that, trying to jump in with the other level 80s, trying to defend the city. I actually got the achievement for was it like Tripping the Rift, I think it was called. Not caring, completely out of my class, trying to kill mobs that are clearly could kill me because they got the skulls on them on their difficulty number. But no, I had fun anyway. But that's around when I got in there.
Okay. Yeah. See, I picked it up.
Yeah.
Let me sit here a little closer. I picked it up during the tail end of Wrath. So I unfortunately, because like my little brother played it since Burning Crusade, and I remember him telling me all about it, and like he absolutely, I think one of his favorite one is Wrath of the Lich King, which is for a lot of people. So I didn't actually get to experience what was going on in the game then, but I did catch the tail end of it. Yeah. And then ultimately, like I saw when the in-game world changed for Cataclysm, and I did the whole, basically everything that you did, because I was not.
Well, let's we can do it this way. The original Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms leveling experience 1 through 60. Yep. What you think of just having to go through all that on your first tune?
So my first tune, man. All right, so this is going back. It was definitely
you. Now, if everyone knows, you tune hop. Where for me, all tune lives matter. I have tunes I've never touched. I just don't delete because all tune lives matters. You hop around characters.
I hop around
quicker
characters
than Lucille Ball's hair colors.
Well, there you go. Nice one. Well, the thing is like I hop around characters until I find that one that actually like feels good. I'm like, all right, this is what I'm playing. Like, in Legion Jesus, I jumped around. I think I started it as a demon hunter, then went to warlock, then went to paladin, then went to rogue, and then stayed at rogue for a long time, and then went screw it and went druid because I wanted to be a skittle kitty. But anyway, definitely. So like how the leveling experience was prior to, when they kind of like smooth things out, it was definitely, if you didn't have BOAs, it was a bit of a challenge, and that was nice. Then when you ended up getting all the BOAs and equipping them, then it was just like, You had
BOAs back in Lich King?
I want to say they were, I think I remember them back in Cataclysm, if memory serves me correct, but like again, I'm a little fuzzy. It was definitely before Mists that they were out.
Right. But we're talking like when you first started out, before the Cataclysm changes, especially you're going through 1 through 60.
Oh, before Cataclysm. Okay.
Yeah. That's best because this is the best way we can try to rank the original Warcraft in our personal views.
I'm not going to lie. Like once the Cataclysm hit, I was like, oh, this is really cool. Like everything's different and everything's placed differently. And it looks like, something really came in and, like messed stuff up. But I personally liked the pre-Cataclysm world. Just a little bit more. Actually, no, a lot more. Like the post Cataclysm world was cool, it was different and I liked it. But after all said and done, and even now, it's like I miss the way, like I liked it more then than what I do now. Right. But that's just personal preference, really.
And I agree with you that because I was I only leveled the original content through my Night Elf Priest, which I hybrid. He was a little bit of shadow, a little bit of holy, so I had some healing. And I was just out there exploring. I love like Dark Shore. I loved what little time I spent in those Thousand Needles area.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, okay.
I thought that was fantastic. I thought the lake area for the dwarves. I thought that was awesome. There was a lot that disappeared in Cataclysm that I remember in the original game, leveling. I thought the pace was pretty good. It took time because I felt like I actually had a character that had to grow, and up until I had actually got to go through the dark portal on my first tune. I was all over the place. I zoned here. I quested here for a little bit. Then I went over here for a little bit. I went back and forth between the continents. My first boat trip from Darnassus to Stormwind was whoa. Now I do remember in the original game, there was no boat service in Stormwind. Everything had to go through, either you took you went through the goblin towns, or you ended up between Darnassus and I think there's the swamp, the wetlands, and from there you had to basically ride up to Ironforge, or take the flight service to Ironforge.
Yeah,
there was no direct boat service until Lich King, where they open up the docks for Stormwind. But still, I was okay. Well, this is a big thing. And then I saw Stormwind for the first time. Like, oh wow, this is a town.
Yeah.
Now I'm definitely getting my $15 a month worth out of this, and I'm enjoying it, and I am. I look forward to the day when that experience can come back. Hopefully, Blizzard soon.
Yes, which we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah.
So. We had what's that?
Well, I was going to say that, what about the, I mean, do we want to grade vanilla, or do we want to, we never really got to experience it as it originally was. So,
all right. So I did experience it a little bit in the sense where I played around on a private server.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll put it this way. I played around on a private server really because I wanted to see it. I did a little bit on it, but not really enough that I could sink my teeth into. I will say that it's definitely a hell of a lot more of a challenge in vanilla and BC than it ever was what I ever felt it was in any other ones. But those were the two that I was leveling in. I didn't level in. Well, I mean, I did level in Wrath, but it was all towards endgame Wrath. So. It's a little hard for me to level, or not level, for me to grade the first two expansions if I didn't really get much to play them in. Right. So just for sake of conversations, I'm going to say let's skip those two.
Right.
The one, we'll go with Wrath since I did play in that one. I remember playing a rogue in Wrath, and I loved the fact, there was world PvP at the time, and I remember staying in stealth as long as I could, sneaking around because I didn't know where people were, and I didn't, I was leveling, I didn't want to get ganked, but I didn't want to not be able to do my stuff. So I spent most of the leveling process in stealth during Wrath when I was playing,
and this was before the speed increase they gave you. When you're stealth.
Yeah. It was I was slowly getting around. And you know what? I had so much fun with it. And I have to say, I would give Wrath, if we're going from let's use, A to F, A being great, obviously, regular, school grading here. I would give not Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King an A. It was just, I was having fun with the story. I was enjoying Northrend. Oh dear God, I was enjoying Northrend. Even still running around, slowly moving in stealth. I had fun with it. So I would give Wrath an A.
Yeah, I did. I was on my main's on a PvE server. I only dabbled in PvP a little bit. But by the time I got the level in Northrend right before Cataclysm finally hit. Cataclysm actually happened while I was in Northrend. I think it was level 78 when that happened.
Okay.
So I mean, I was still trying to get to 80 when everyone else was already on the new content.
Okay.
Which by the time I had a couple ults, so I got to play the new world on my ults, but I was trying to get myself to 80 so I can do the new content. So I never got to experience Dalaran the way that it was supposed to be, where everybody was there, which I was very disappointed. It was just like Shat City over in Outland. I go there and it's like an empty town. Back in the day, I mean, everyone was there. Same thing with Dalaran. I finally got there and I'm like, damn it. No one's here. Everyone's back in Stormwind. And and then I'm thinking, somehow I had in my head that Deep Home zone was going to be the new Dalaran. And so I was eager to get there. And I got there. I was like, well, no, that's not how this is supposed to be. And I have to say the music in Wrath was really good, especially like Howling Fjords and whatnot. Those were great. And you had the whole zone of just, undead trolls, which I thought was pretty nifty. I think my favorite area of the whole game, though, is that very northern area, just because of the music and everything, especially when you get close to, Ulduin?
Oldham?
The raiding area. Oldham.
You're talking about we're up where like Ice Cream Citadel was?
Yeah, Ice Cream,
all right.
Further past, that really northern area, the edge of the world there. I know
what you're talking about that. All right, I know what you're talking about. Actually, that whole area was really nice.
Yeah. I mean, that expansion was really good. I a little bit I got to play around with Wintergrass, but much later.
Yeah.
I think when I was capped at a level 110, I got to play Wintergrass a little bit. Decided to do that, especially now that you don't have to have separate PvP gear anymore, which was kept me out of the PvP experience. Yeah. For the most part. Now that that's gone, I mean, I know people are going to complain, but I got to dabble it again.
Yeah.
So.
And then, so what would you grade it?
Well, I never got to really play it when it was really, really current. But what I got to play with, I enjoyed a lot. So I got it an A as well.
Okay. So it's got an A. Now after Wrath of the Lich King, obviously we said it a couple of times. We've had Cataclysm, right, which basically, like I said, came in. Some of the big features in that particular expansion, not even going on about the story, not touching that part. You had the world changed ultimately and hasn't changed. We've gone back since, but the world changed forever.
Right.
They introduced
new world maps. Yep.
What's that?
New world maps.
Yeah, new world maps. They introduced, Worgen for the Alliance and goblins for the Horde. They did do, some character sprucing and stuff like that. Now, right. Cataclysm, I did get to play.
Right.
And I remember originally not enjoying it all that much. Like, I had fun with some stuff, but, I wasn't really blown away by a lot of it. That expansion was the first time that I ever had anything that was max level. Mm-hmm. So it was. It was
only 5 levels, but man, that was a hard 5 levels.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, yeah. Especially because I never had BOAs or anything like that, so like I had to do it traditional, if you will.
Yeah.
Now that one I did get to, at least see the end story to it. They also introduced looking for raid, which some people might say was the worst thing they've ever done. Others, like myself, because I'll be honest, at that particular time and part of the game, I was awful at it. Oh my God, right. I was awful. I didn't know what a rotation was. I just hit buttons and had fun.
That's how you play a Death Knight, right?
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like I wasn't even playing Death Knight properly. But I did have the chance to see at least, raids. I got to see, fight Deathwing and all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. If thinking back on it, if I really had to grade it, I would probably give Cataclysm. Story wise, it wasn't really too bad. They did do some really cool stuff. I'd probably give it like a B minus.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit and hate on it, but I wasn't thinking back on it. I wasn't necessarily like blown away by it.
Yeah. And they really revamped. They revamped the game too. Remember he had your skills had different tiers.
Oh, and they got rid of the.
You basically just got the one spell.
Yep, they got rid of the old
and forever
skill
and ever,
trees.
amen. It always leveled up with you. Same thing with me. This was the first expansion I got to play that was current. It did feel disjointed because everywhere, the actual content was spread out to the areas that was never explored before. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people hated it. I actually did love the underwater area of Vizier just because of the music, and it was something different. I did enjoy that zone. Most people don't care for it, and I can understand.
Okay, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah,
it was okay.
I did love the whole Harrison Jones adventure, and which was great. Lots of it was one big pun, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to do end game content with that expansion. I got to play when I was in a guild. I got to do like Grim Batal and was it Bastion of Twilight? Mm-hmm. No, Grim Batal was a dungeon, but Bastion of Twilight was the raid. And we barely always get past the first room.
Okay.
All right. And then we get to the first boss and we just get creamed. And this was when I was kind of like being kind of, you join a guild, and I think every guild, and I've seen this because I've been in a few guilds. I think every guild who say that they're like just social only, we're just here for heirlooms or whatnot, they always see what they got in terms of people in their guild, and they start getting the itch where, hey, maybe we could start doing in-game content. And before you know it, people start wanting, hey, everyone, we want you here at 8:00 on Tuesdays because we're going to try to raid. We want that content. We want those guild achievements and stuff. Because this is when we had Cataclysm gave guild achievements, right?
Yes.
And guild levels and stuff like that. And so, hey, we want to start doing that. And if, I was going along with it, but I'm like, no, I don't want to be, this is a game. I don't want this to be a chore. And, that's, so I had that experience with Cataclysm. That's, although, I do have to admit, this is the expansion where I made the most money off of herbs because my main's an herbalist with enchanting. Don't ask me why. That's what I chose when I started the game. And I was big in that auction house, and I was able to track and be able to, I gather all the good herbs at the time, and I wait for that market to drop, and I throw all my stuff in there. And just, flood the market with my product.
Yeah.
Listen to me. Flood the market with my product and just undercut the market and just reap in the cha-ching, get that sweet, sweet cheddar.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, which I had never been able to since once the next expansion came after that, I just lost track of the auction house. I'd never been able to try, especially now with, you could buy WoW tokens. So in real world money is influencing the auction house now. It's so hard to have a tune make money in the auction house. But that's going a little further ahead. So I'd give Cataclysm a B+. There's a few things I didn't like. Obviously, I'm not liking the new zones. I think something needs to be done. I mean, we're starting to get in this thing where as expansions are added in, we're getting to this time warp dance where you start in one expansion that's a certain part of the timeline, then you go back in time, you go forward in time, you go back in time again. And it's
all over the place.
I'm hoping Blizzard can figure something out where they can kind of give a one big sweep and just up everything to what it's supposed to be now.
Yeah.
But that's a personal gripe.
Yeah, I mean that is what it is there.
So
from there we had Mists of Pandaria, which I think the biggest again, not getting into the story on any of these, biggest things in Mists of Pandaria was they added the first ever neutral race. We had the Pandarans, which
only neutral race.
Yeah, the first and only ever neutral race. You can kind of, you go to the little starting area, and then afterwards you can pick which side you want to join. So there was that was really cool. Also, they added in the Pandarans, which was for the longest time a requested race.
Right.
Which then when
Which
they
as soon
finally
as we
did,
got it,
then everybody did, no one wanted it.
Yeah. It boggles. I remember those posts on Blizzard's forums. We want Pandarians. We want Pandarians, and we got Pandarians. And what did people say? Yeah, we don't want Pandarians.
Yeah. And also they added in a new content.
Yes.
Continent.
Battle pets.
Well, yeah, battle pets. Yep.
So Pokemon.
Yep, they added in their own version of Pokemon, and also they added in a new continent, little area you can go to explore. You know, Pandaria really is where you go explore. Right. So that one was heavily Oriental themed.
Right.
And I actually have to say, like, that expansion, I just had a lot of fun with. Now, unfortunately, it didn't really have any world PvP that I can recall. Even being on a PvP server, like, it just never happened. But, oh, man, I did do some raiding on that expansion. Not much at all, at all. But I did do a little bit. Man, let me think here. Outside of having the new area to explore, new story to chew my teeth into, essentially their own version of Pokemon.
Yep.
I did do a little bit of raiding, did the leveling obviously in that one.
Timeless Isle was fantastic. It was a great way to end an expansion.
It was. I also met some really awesome people from playing that game during that expansion. So I have to say, for me, Mists of Pandaria, I'd have to give that like an A-. Yeah. It was just like, I felt it was just a lot of fun. Outside of, meeting people and whatnot, like you said, ending it with the Isle of, Timeless Isle, like, was a really nice way to catch,
which
gear up.
Which people are still doing, because there's some really rare mount drops that people are still going for.
Yeah.
And I'll swing over there every now and then, and they're still there waiting to get that black serpent dragon. And you actually now, because of the power leveling going on, the difference of level, I should say, you actually have to be in a group, because you're not going to tick that monster when it spawns. It's going to be instant dead. So you better be in a group. That way you get a chance to be able to loot from them. Yeah. That expansion. The Jade Forest was absolutely beautiful. I love Jade Forest. The whole leveling was fantastic. That was the first time, though, that because of real life situations, I actually had to unsubscribe for a while, and so I missed the part when I finally got back into it. Garrosh was already destroyed that Eternal Blossoms area, which I was kind of ticked about, because I was hoping to start leveling in that area, but no, he had to do what he wanted to do. So I never got to really go through there while it was all nice and golden and neat. But I actually do have one complaint, and I am the small silent minority on this one, because in the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But it does irk me that they have this essentially Chinese themed race and area, but they go out of their way to make sure that all the Chinese-ish names and whatnot, or Spire names, are pronounced as American and not, you would think, with, as Chinese pinyin. And it grinds my ears when I'm reading it, when I'm reading the text bubbles, the dialogue bubbles, and I'm seeing clearly a name that's supposed to be in Chinese, but it's pronounced in American, and it irks me.
Okay.
So, but that is my only complaint, that they couldn't go that far. I mean, when they had the what's the race, the giant race in Northrend that's Scandinavian, the Valkyr, whatever they are. Vikul. They have, they pronounce their names with, they pronounce their Scandinavian inspired words with that, accent, and that pronunciation. They don't do it with the Pandarians, though.
Yeah. And
that does irk me. Again, I am in a small minority on this one, and no one's ever really complained about that. So I'm not raising the fuss, and it's been how many years since Pandaria came out? I'm not crying about it. well, I'm not going to cry about it, but I'm just, I finally have a way to say, hey, I have a problem.
Yeah.
But without saying I have a problem. I don't know. It's late.
Fair enough. So what
anyway,
would you...
that is probably one of my favorite expansions. I do actually give it an A+, despite my one little quirk. I really love it.
Fair enough.
Working for that serpent mount was actually really neat. Having to raise it.
Yeah, that was
nice.
That one was cool.
Yeah.
So from there, came an expansion that no one likes. So I'm not going to waste my time talking about it.
Well, no, not really.
All right, so maybe there'll be like 3 people, but let's at least go over this. From there was Warlords of Draenor. The biggest, let's see here. The biggest things to happen in Warlords of Draenor was
the devs dropped it.
Let's see here. It probably had one of the worst launch experiences that I ever experienced.
I was able to log in.
Oh my god! I remember when that one came out, and it was like myself, my brother, and
the
like a whole bunch of friends.
But I would log in.
Like we couldn't. I actually ended up getting a character transferred to a different server so I could actually get in because I couldn't play on my server, which was really dumb. And I still never transferred that character back, but I'm not going to, so it doesn't matter. But so they introduced garrisons, they had mission.
Because again, people wanted a townhouse or wanted their own home. So Blizzard, being Blizzard, decided, well, you want a home? We'll give you a home. We'll give you a whole village.
Yeah, pretty much. And it kind of, killed the game for a little while, in my opinion, but we'll get to that. But they introduced garrisons, they introduced followers, like little follower missions that you could do. They added in ways to get essentially to go out in the world and capture your own mounts, which was actually kind of cool. I'll give it that.
If you have the appropriate building in your garrison.
Yes, it was all, again, tied to the garrison. A lot of this expansion was tied to what your garrison had in it. They did, let you go back to the old Draenor prior, to it getting destroyed by the Legion.
So basically those who played the Warcraft 2 would have fun with this.
Pretty much, yeah. I will say this, outside of my own personal issues with that expansion, one thing that was really nice is if you're into the lore and you're into, like, if you have the Chronicle books, especially like the first one where they talk about Draenor, it is cool to read that book and then go back to that expansion and just see certain things. So I'll give it that. They did introduce some really interesting and awesome characters that you get no closure with. But they introduced them, I'll give them that. Yeah. They introduced some really awesome characters. They just don't do anything with them. And those that they do, it's just really weird. Like it was, you know what? Let me try this way. I don't actually believe that WoD was an actual expansion. I believe it's a test expansion. Because, I think they had high, what's the word I want to use here?
High goals?
Yeah, they had high hopes that, this expansion was going to launch and like everybody was going to be really into, this and that about it. I mean, they did bonus objectives. They put in that. I think that's awesome.
And they at least try to stick to their guns by finally trying. They made the attempt to put the genie back in the bottle, which is flying mounts.
Oh, yeah.
They wanted to try to undo that mistake. They've admitted as much that opening it up in BC was a mistake, especially when it comes to world PvP and the effects of flying mounts has had with that.
Yeah.
But the outcry to have it, I mean, you can't put it away anymore.
Yeah, but also, I mean, they wanted to get rid of the flying so that way they could kind of reintroduce world PvP, but then they introduced garrisons, which you never needed to leave. Like, you essentially going to your garrison was like going to Stormwind or going to Orgrimmar. You never really needed to go there for anything. You could do everything you wanted to from there, which why would you be running around the world if you just needed to, you wanted ores? Well, hey, your garrison could do it for you if you had it on there. I think like what ended up happening with that particular expansion is once they started seeing the numbers drop as harsh as they did, which they did, the numbers dropped really hard during that expansion. They were like, oh shit, we need to rush this, okay, you know what? Let's just end it here. put the brakes on it and let's immediately
Work on the
start.
next one.
Like let's work on the next one. Let's bring this back. Let's let's bring back the numbers. Let's bring back the players.
Right.
I honestly like. So ultimately speaking, like Warlords of Draenor did add in a couple of things that were really cool. Not much in my personal opinion, but a few things. With that said, and having gone through and experienced it all, I actually, you know what, I will say this. I believe the raids in WoD were pretty decent. I actually liked the raids. The dungeons weren't too bad. The raids I definitely enjoyed. I actually like co-ran a guild for that expansion for a while. And then just real world life problems and all that stuff. I just couldn't, I couldn't run it, so I ended up having to step down from it. But, that part was cool. That's basically it. So if I had to actually grade it, it would get like a D-, like,
Ooh.
and that's being polite, but like there's not much to that expansion that I like. I will
See,
when I'm leveling.
I have a totally different experience with the expansion. I have to be honest. I do have, I actually did not see any major problems with it. But then again, I think this plays to the fact that you and I have different play styles. I'm the solo quester guy. So the garrison was a perfect fit for me. I liked being in the garrison and being the alliance majority of the time alliance player. That Shadow Moon Valley was a beautiful zone to level in, and I love being in that zone. And I don't do dungeons and raids, so that end game content, which never happened, and the game being dropped, that's what really caused a lot of people to leave. It didn't really bother me because I'm still trying to quest through and trying to get everything I need, mainly because when they did allow flying again, they put it behind an achievement, which was, at least for someone who like me, nearly impossible to get without some major time devotion into this game, which I just don't have. But I do agree. Like my absolute favorite character came from this expansion, and that's that Riel, I think you pronounce her name, Yrel. They just dropped her midway, and I was like, wait, where's she go?
Again, like what I was saying, an interesting character, and they didn't do.
And she's supposedly supposed to come now back into BFA with the, I'm just hoping they don't turn her into a raid boss, because the way they're making her out to be, she's supposed to be she's supposed to be the evil side of the light, so to speak.
Well, I know they talked about bringing her in, but like I don't believe it's going to go anywhere outside of just that. I think it's going to end up happening is you're going to go there, you're going to see what's going on, and then that's it. They're not going to touch it. Yeah, like I don't think. I hope she don't make a raid, because look, if she wants to be Space Hitler, then she can Deus my vault any day of the week. All right. I mean, I remember like I'd go through some of the zones and I'm like, holy crap. You basically got kaiju in this game. I mean, some of those mobs were huge. Yeah. Yeah. And I was taken aback from it. And of course, one of my absolute favorite zones is back in Burning Crusades, Nagran. And I was really eager, and I was not disappointed with the new Nagran that they had. That's just like my zone. Yeah. The music, the skybox, the visuals, I just love it. And the new version was, doesn't have all the floaty islands, but still had the same feel, and I enjoyed it just as much. And there's that scene, that little cinematic with Garrosh and Thrall. Thank you. I forgot his name for a second there. Green Jesus. Where the voice acting is just so on point. I remember getting goosebumps from it. You made me. Yes. But I still give it a D-. But I loved that part. That was cool. But I'm sorry. Continue on. Yeah. No. Like I said, you and I have differences of how we level up and all that, and how we play the game. It fit my bill. I actually like building up my garrison. I like doing the work orders for it and whatnot. I couldn't always stay there because there's no auction house,
and I did get the billing for the bank though, which was nice on my end. But yeah, I don't always stay at my garrison, but it's nice to have the second Hearthstone as well.
I mean,
which is what this game actually introduced. And sometimes when you're still on the cooldown with your main, sometimes you're gonna have to go back to your garrison. So
yeah, I guess it's a way to
I
look
enjoy
at
it. I mean, with all its faults, I'm a bit more generous. I give it a C+.
Oof, you're more generous than I am on that one.
I did enjoy, and it's like I said, Shadow and Valley is that is just pretty.
Yeah. So from the, in my opinion, rushed mess that Warlords of Draenor was, came Legion.
Which was a filler expansion.
Somewhat, yeah. Sure, we'll go with that
there was
one.
something. Yeah, I think something happened, but we're really, it was just a filler.
Wait, are we talking about Legion or Warlords being the filler?
Legion.
Oh, man.
I'm being silly.
Those are harsh words, my friend.
Fighting words.
So some of the biggest points for Legion, they added in a new
level scaling.
Hold on, because there's Legion added in a few things. So first off, it added in increased level cap. It also added in new areas to quest in. It also brought in a new heroic class to play, which was the Demon Hunter. It brought back Illidan. Back basically at the tail end of Warlords. Well, no, not even at the tail end, because they introduced in the beginning. But they basically killed off Gul'dan again.
This time for real though.
This time for super real. Like, I swear to God, he's super dead this time. There's nothing. He's dead.
He's gone.
He's dead.
He's gone.
Super dead. And then they also, they brought back, they brought back the Legion. They brought back Sargeras. You ended up seeing, the Titans. They also added in level scaling. They did a lot. Like in Legion, they did so much. Now, my personal opinion here, I didn't. No, I did raid in Legion too. Yeah. Okay.
There's a lot to do in this expansion, and there's still people doing content for Legion.
I can't even. They artifact weapons. They added in the legendary, like a legendary system, which didn't really end up getting smoothed out real nice until the end, but they had it in there.
And then they got rid of it.
But you can still go and get them if you want, which I would recommend, because there's some really cool ones that you can transmog.
Especially the Shadow Priest one. It actually talks. That blade is fantastic. I that's in my bank. That is not being sold. Sorry.
No.
It's not even going to the voice storage either. That is it's just sitting in my bank.
Yeah. There's so much to do in that particular game. I mean, so the leveling,
and we actually go to hell.
You go, actually give you 2 areas to explore. I forgot about the other one.
We actually go to hell.
I can't believe you. You take the fight to Argus, the Legion's home world.
Yeah.
The leveling experience in that game was a lot of fun. And then when you get flying, it's just even stupid easy. But
if you could get flying,
the leveling.
Again,
what's that?
Again, that's my play style. I'll never get that Pathfinder achievement.
Oh, that was the first and only time that I was like, I'm getting this. Until now for BFA, because I'm getting it for BFA. But anyway, I'm digressing. The leveling experience in Legion was just a lot of fun. In my opinion, the stories were engaging. And then they did world invasions where the Legion was just like, screw you guys, we're going to, take over one area at a time. That was so much fun.
Well, especially before the launch of Legion, where they actually did this.
Pre-launch event for it? Oh, yeah. Great way to level up and get. Dude, I remember taking.
Your ults, even if they were like level 10, could join in on the fight.
You could join in on the fight.
And they could get really good gear for their level.
You could get good gear for your level, and it was a great way to essentially boost your character for free.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I boosted a few characters. I
did almost every character on that one. That's how not Battle. Legion was the first expansion, but by the end of the expansion, I had a max level of each class, and they were all geared pretty decently. Like, I played the hell out of Legion. I really liked Legion. But like I said, I mean, I had fun with the leveling. The stories were engaging. This was, they brought back freaking Illidan. The hero class they added in was fun unless you were in PvP and then you were a rogue, and then it was stupid because they could see you, and they were just so damn mobile and are. But
Illidan's
They added in,
what's it? This was also, I mean, they tested this with Warlords. They had cinematics. They've always had cinematics, and they try to do a narrative cinematic with Warlords. But this one, they really there's actually YouTube videos where they put all the cinematics, and it's like watching an actual movie. You could actually watch the whole story of Legion. And just cinematics. You don't have to play the game. You get the whole story on that.
Yeah, you get the gist of what's going on.
Some is very good. But yeah, go ahead.
You know, for me, the I just really loved the lore of it, and it was the Legion, you know, and Illidan, you know, and Tyrande.
Did we mention Illidan?
You know, well, actually, no, I hated that part, so screw Tyrande. What? Who?
What? Wait. Excuse me.
I listen. There's just that one spot where you're going in and you're having to save Malfurion, and every 3 seconds he screams Tyrande.
Yeah,
Tyrande. Well, whatever the hell you pronounce it.
I have to say this.
I hated that spot.
You and I both are into the Warlords, the lore in Warcraft. You know, obviously, you know, she between the two brothers, she picked Malfurion, even though we can honestly say this now.
It's the wrong brother.
No, yeah. Illidan obviously is the one who really has true love for Tyrande. I mean, the guy is now, you know, being, you know, the prison warden for life for Sargeras, only to save her, but, you know, because we don't want Azeroth to be destroyed. That's the only reason why he's doing this, is for Tyrande. So Tyrande, I hope you understand that you know, okay, fine, you know, he's basically said, fine, pick my brother, he's a good guy. You know, I hope you understand that Illidan was the one who had the heart on for you.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think everybody, you know, everyone is welcome to take a slap to Tyrande for obviously ditching the guy who really had true love for her.
Yeah. Oh, and you know what? And Rand, yeah. And also, you know what? Like, when the expansion ended, like, I really feel like they gave closure to the characters.
Right.
Or at least what was going on there. It had closure. Obviously, it opens towards the next expansion, but I mean, you know what's happened. You know, you end up finding out where the Titans have been this entire time, and you know, Illidan gets that, for lack of better words, he gets some closure there on it. You know,
an actual grand finale, because he, you know, for his expansion, he was basically the first patch raid boss, and he was, you know, swept under the rug afterwards. Back in Cataclysm, they did have the Well of Eternity dungeon when they brought him back a little bit. But he needed a proper send off. And I think this is what it is, because, you know, anyone who's played Warcraft 3, you had two big characters were Illidan and Arthas. Arthas got his own expansion pack. This was Illidan's expansion pack.
Yes. This was also, you know, Blizzard's way of being like, all right, let's put Illidan in the bank and bring him back when we need to bring subs back up.
Right, because technically Sargeras isn't dead.
No.
And Illidan, you know, you could say now he lives forever because, you know, reasons. I mean, he's with the Titans right now.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there glaring at Sargeras for the rest of eternity. Just remember, that's what he's doing. He's just glaring at him.
Yep.
All right, that's what he gets to do now for the rest of his life. I hope he's happy.
There's a lot of character depth in there, even with him, with Velen.
Velen finally. I mean, you got some in Draenor, but that was a different Velen.
Yeah.
You know.
You also get, oh, you know what? I can't believe I actually forgot to say this, but probably in the launch, the first quest of the expansion, both the Horde and the Alliance loses the Horde loses their war chief, Alliance loses their king. And I'll say this much, like, Vol'jin, which I was really rooting for, because Vol'jin becomes, like, you know, the leader for the war chief at the end of Mist Pandaria. And then in Draenor, you know, in WoD, he's, you know, around doing stuff, you know, you see him.
He's doing the voodoo, man.
Yeah, you see him when you level up your garrison, you know, if that counts. And then Legion, he dies. He kind of, you know, he makes Sylvanas the war chief in his stead for, you know, so she's the main leader for Legion.
There's some conspiracy theories about that.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, so that happens, you know, and then, you know, like the Alliance loses you know, Stormwind loses their king, and he goes out like a goddamn champ. Oh, yeah. Let me tell you. You know, so that was also probably a huge thing on it.
Right. The last time Gul'dan twirled his mustache.
It was the last time Gul'dan twirls his mustache. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's
we came back for him.
So again, like I could repeat this over and over. There's just so much to do in that expansion. Like
Anduin actually becomes a man.
Yep, we get Manduin. We get Manduin in that expansion.
Manduin, absolutely.
There's so much in there. It's a lot of fun.
More Gen Greymare.
Yep. There's a lot more Gen.
Yep.
I have to give Legion. Actually, I got to reiterate something. I had given Wrath of the Lich King an A. That one, honestly, I'd probably have to give an A+ just from what I saw. And then, going back and then seeing more of when I had, unfortunately not when the expansion was current, but going back and seeing it, because Wrath, I wanted to say gave it an A+. Legion gets an A. It's all said and done. I had a lot of fun during that expansion. I had a lot of fun doing the raids and gearing. Like I didn't care about gearing prior to that. This time it was like, oh man, I want to get a little bit stronger. The only thing that sucked about Legion was there was like not really anything new they added for PvP, which I like to PvP. That's kind of a shame, but I mean, it is what it is. What about you, Mike?
Oh yeah, well, gear I've never cared about because I was never really into dungeon stuff. But when I got to Argus, holy crap, I was whipped hard. And it's like, okay, let me go to Broken Shore, get those gear there. And I got all the gear for Broken Shore, go back to the Argus, I'm still getting my butt whipped.
Yep.
And but I was fine because I was used to doing stuff like that. I was used to having to tiptoe around mobs or wait for somebody else to zoom through so I could sneak through and get to where I need to go and be the jerk doing that stuff.
Yeah.
I from stem to stern, I had a lot of fun with this expansion. The class halls were, I think, a great idea.
I forgot all about that. Class halls.
It was a nice balance between a solo garrison and and something that you could still have a community with. I got to play around with a couple class halls. Obviously, the priest was the big one I did with, but I got to see the hunter one, and I got to see the demon hunter one, and I think actually so far the best one I've seen was the one for the shamans because they got to go to the maelstrom. And I always thought that area was pretty neat, and you rarely get to see that area in the game. So having a whole area devoted to the maelstrom was pretty nifty to go there and just see the endless swirl down below. But yeah, no, this expansion, the mounts were fantastic. Again, it's flying is behind a achievement which I'll never get. And yeah, this game introduced class level scaling, which I have some gripes about personally, especially after they enable it for the rest of the world later on. And towards the end of the expansion, makes it harder for me to feel like I'm actually leveling because I'm going back to older content and in the zone. And normally I should be ahead by a level or two, but I'm still getting my butt whipped by this. And as a priest, they did the one thing I've hated with my class, is that they got rid of Mind Seer, which was my AOE spell. And what they did is they built Mind Seer's AOE ability into my main spell, which is Mind Flay. If I put my one dot Shadow or Pain on a tune and on an enemy and hit him with Mind Flay, I would hit enemy characters around him, which is fine, except if I don't want to pull a neutral creature at the same time, and there were instances where I'm trying to get the one mob, but I'm also pulling in the deer that's kicking my ass.
Yeah.
And I hate it. And if I want to go through old content, like Tempest Keep to get a mount, I have no AoE spell for that, for those mobs, because as soon as I hit with Shadow and Pain, they die instantly. So I can't enable Mind Seer. Thankfully, though, in BFA, they finally brought back Mind Seer as a separate spell. Thank you, Blizzard. But all is said and done, especially when it comes to the storyline, I still give Legion an A, easy.
Okay. Yeah, there was.
But it sucked not having Mind Seer for a whole expansion.
I also forgot to mention they added in allied races.
Which are, I think, actually, well, technically, that it's a BFA thing. It's when you pre-ordered BFA, you can unlock them.
They added in. Yeah, but the thing is like the Void Elves, the Nightborn, High Mountain Tauren, and the
Lightforged Draenei.
Yeah, those guys. They were launched during.
Come on,
Legion.
Rod, admit it. You like the waggle.
I mean, who doesn't? But that was another thing they added in Legion. They were just, long story short, Legion, there's a lot of stuff to do and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They actually in my opinion, that's when they really polished the game for what it is.
Right.
And then now leads us to our current expansion, Battle for Azeroth, which launched just, not so long ago. Mm-hmm. I haven't finished I haven't really finished the expansion yet, or what's out of the expansion so far.
Yeah.
But I actually have to say, for what it's worth, this one I am just having a lot of fun with. I'm also having a lot of fun with the leveling on it. They added in war mode, which essentially is, there's
PvP.
It
makes you a PvP server.
Basically, yes. And I play with that on, and I have fun with it. So I'm really enjoying this one a lot. All the little nerdy references, Jesus, I found Winnie the Pooh last night.
Where?
Oh my God, hold on. I'm trying to remember the name. It's the I forget the name of the area, but it's the Old God theme area. It's in that little area of the map of the world, of the map. But there's Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh's in there, and him, Tigger, Eeyore, Christopher Robin, Piglet. They're in there. I was I found them, and I was like, oh, that's cute. That's funny. So I mean, so far it's looking really good. I'm having a lot of fun. Fingers crossed it stays that way.
Yeah, no, I'm digging got a lot of high hopes for this expansion.
Yeah, and then for those who what was I going to say here? For those who, here we go. Here's the notes. Now, for those who prefer the older style WoW, and I'm going to try it out when it comes out. There is, outside of the current WoW that we have now, what I'm really much enjoying. There is, Blizzard has talked about bringing in classic servers,
right?
And that's going to happen eventually.
Valve time.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get that probably whenever we see Half-Life 3. Now, because Blizzard said it'll happen. No one knows when it's going to happen.
I expect this time next year we might actually get the expansion.
Yeah, well,
the new game.
Yeah, they might say something at BlizzCon this year, which is, I'm expecting something at BlizzCon. But there is, the classic servers, which, as we know so far, it's going to be vanilla WoW. Patch.
They actually
something.
did release devs actually released a post back in June, which we missed, which clarifies that they have settled on a patch.
Yeah, 1.12, right?
Yep, which was the last patch before Burning Crusade, which is what I would thought they would do, because that's the one with most of the bug fixes and balances already done into the code.
Yeah.
So there's really no need to have to redo everything again. The problem is that Blizzard is not going to sit there and try to maintain two different MMO games. So they're trying to get the classic World of Warcraft to work on current modern database systems so that they can run both games concurrently on the same system, so that if there's a security bug on one, it affects the fix can affect both of them.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to. They want to stop the cheaters, and there was a lot of cheating back in the day before all the anti-cheating stuff where they put in their servers. So that's what they're doing. This has the effect, though, of potentially Blizzard is one little code drop away from enabling things like transmogrification and LFR and looking for group and things that would rile the purists who want that classic experience. Because you got the whole hashtag no changes thing. And I'm not in that group because I'm not setting myself up for disappointment. Obviously, things like Battle.net is going to chat is going to be in Classic. That has to be stuff like that. Mod support would have to be in that. But when it comes to things like I can understand, when Blizzard releases this and you got 2-3 million people wanting to play from the start, obviously they have to run like 50 servers to support this population. And I can also see a year later where that 2-3 million players is going to go down to maybe 200,000 players. Suddenly you're going to have a lot of players on empty servers. What is Blizzard going to do? Obviously they're going to implement cross-realming on Classic. I think that's going to rile people up, but I'm just saying off the bat, just be prepared for something like that because it's just a natural progression of what happens with them, especially with an MMO that I suspect is just going to be the flat base Classic game 1 through 60 and no new content. I think Blizzard is going to release it as is with just security patches. And people who are diehard about it, who want to play legit, are going to be able to play legit.
Yeah.
Me personally, I think Blizzard they opened a can of worms when they made this announcement. I think what Blizzard should have done is gone to 2 or 3 of these private server people, said something like, "Hey, look, we're going to put an API on our servers to let you know if an account is active or not." We just want you to make sure that you only allow people who have active World of Warcraft accounts. Otherwise, players who are paying us to be allowed to play on your servers, and then we will quietly not talk about this to you or about anything, and we won't go after you. Just, don't make money and make sure we're making money. If they did that to 2 or 3 of these which I think one of them was doing that, where they only let you play if they knew you had a legit account with Blizzard. Mm-hmm. If they did that, then these groups would have have to deal with the BS, and they would be the ones to say, "Hey, do we want to do this version or that version? Do we want to do Burning Crusade? How about we do Lich King this time?" And just have those servers and let those communities just be themselves, and Blizzard get their $15 a month anyway.
Yeah.
But this is what they're going to do, and I'm afraid that this is going to be one of those things where, something has sizzled for so long, and the fan base has such high hopes that once it finds release, people are just going to be upset. And this is why you're not going to get Half-Life 3, because the hopes are so high that they'll never make a game that good. So Valve's just not going to make that game, and I'm bracing for the backlash when this thing's released. I'm going to enjoy it. Believe me.
I'm going to win it. When it launches, I'm going to play it.
I'm going to re-roll my Night Elf priest. I don't care if that's not what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to be some other race to be a priest. And I don't care at level 60 I'm supposed to be holy and not shadow. I'm just going to play the way I want to play. I'm going to pick the talents I want to pick. I'm going to basically role play my character the way I see fit. That's my tune, And maybe this time I want to roll a Tauren, because I do want to experience the Barons. I never got to experience the actual vanilla Barons. And that's something I'm looking forward to. I'm looking for that 15 levels of brown.
Fair enough.
And, I'm, level 36 and still can't get my 4th Chevra hoof.
Well, I mean,
so
we're waiting for this to happen. Eventually, eventually this is going to be a thing.
Whether it's going to be a separate subscription plan, or they're just going to tie it in all together. We are waiting to see that information. Right now, they're just working on the technical stuff, and the fact they're actually working on it and they have some progress, because they do have it up and running. Mm-hmm. And it's just, it needs some spit and polish. They're talking that they're generally going to try to keep to the original look of the game. They're not going to use the updated models. From what I see so far, they said unless the players really want the new models, we're going to keep the older models. Yeah, I mean, I like to see in the increased view distance that Draenor provided, but as long as it runs on modern hardware, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see. I'm you know what? As long as they come out with it, I don't care. I'll try it either way.
No, that's a game where I'm looking forward to just the slow leveling and the taking in the whole world.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to rush it. There's going to be people rushing it. Just like they did with BFA. Like that morning, there were people that were already level 120. They rushed it overnight.
Yep.
No, I'm not going to rush it. I'm taking my time. I'm going to enjoy the content because I don't know how long that's going to last. You never know.
Yeah, that is true. Get it in while you can now.
Mm-hmm.
So, ultimately, this has been our take of the previous WoW expansions, the current one that we're testing with. The hopes and dreams that when the classic servers, testing, the hopes and dreams for whenever the hell the classic servers launch. And just our general thoughts on WoW. Like I've played around with a bunch of different MMOs, WoW being not the first, but one of the first. And what
was your first MMO?
The just first curiosity. One, EverQuest.
EverQuest.
Yes.
Mine was a free one called Fly for Fun.
I've never even heard of that one.
Yeah, no. Yeah, the first one I actually was serious about was Perfect World International.
Jesus.
That was the one I did before.
Yeah.
Warcraft.
Okay.
And that's a grinder. If you think leveling through WoW could be grindy at time, no. WoW's a piece of cake compared to Perfect World International. Trust me on this one.
Oh no, I can imagine. I know enough about that game to agree with you.
Yeah.
But I've played around with a bunch of them. This has been one of the only ones actually where I come back and I keep sticking to, like I played around with Guild Wars and I'll eventually go back and forth on that just because it's free, but I don't really play it that much, and I've tried the Final Fantasy one, which I actually really like, but I haven't gone back to that in a while.
Old Republic with the Star Wars Old Republic.
Man, that's just, Hutball, man, Hutball. Yeah. That was all you needed. But regardless, Blizzard with WoW, I've always been keep going back to, and I just find myself just enjoying it even more now.
I think Blizzard figured out the formula. Everyone comes up with the WoW killer. No one, Blizzard is the one to kill WoW. Mm-hmm. No one can. Bethesda and Square, they came pretty close, but there's something about Warcraft.
WoW will die when Blizzard kills it.
Right.
So. Yeah, but this has been our thoughts on it all. Definitely, like I said, stated before, if you're not into MMOs or you are, but you're not really sure, like what to try, this is definitely one to look into.
And 1 through 20 is free, and you got I think all the base races you could play for free, so you have plenty of gameplay just for nothing if you just want to dip your toes in it. But I'll tell you this: you dip your toes in this, you're going to be itching to put that $15 down.
Yeah.
For your subscription.
Yeah. So, as always, thank you for listening to us.
Yep.
Any questions, comments, concerns, you can by all means get a hold of us at beardedgamemasters@gmail.com. Leave a like, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever you have to do to help get us out there.
Smoke signals.
Holler at us, holler about us, and WoW if you play it. But as always,
we prefer /hugs in chat.
That's true. But as always, thank you so much for wasting your time with us as we talked about WoW. And take care.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna go play more WoW now.